We've been watching this for roughly the last 30 minutes. Let's kind of quickly talk about the latest scan. It does look like the rotation is perhaps weakening just a little bit, which is a great sign. Again, we're constantly getting information from this, but compared to what we had minutes ago, it does look like the rotation is becoming a little bit more broad. Now, we still have the tornado warning that is in effect. Just because we're continuing to see some of this rotation continue to become more broad, perhaps weaken just a little bit, does not mean that we can't see that pulse-like effect with some of these storms. Sometimes they weaken and then they fire back up. So if you are in the path of this storm, that does include Middlesboro, that does include 25E, again, Highway 25E, you will want to make sure that you are continuing to take shelter from this storm. It's moving off to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. We do have a tornado warning that is issued for the northern half of Claiborne County until 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. And then we do have a new tornado warning from the same system that has been issued for Bell County until 1:45 p.m. Again, the broad rotation that we have from this storm is continuing to show really some signs of some weakening. Let's focus on that just a little bit more, and let's give you a loop of what we've had over the last 30 minutes, and that just kind of gives you a sign of, yes, where we have some of those brighter colors. When it was initially forming, it did show the potential of seeing really some tighter rotation. Now it's beginning to broaden out just a little bit. This is heading also right to the north of the Cumberland Gap area, Middlesboro. Again, if you are watching, now is the time to take shelter in your safe place. Go to the most inner part of your house, away from windows, away from doors. If you have a basement, that's going to be an ideal location as well to take place or to take shelter right now, as this storm that does have the potential of producing a tornado is moving into your direction. Again, it's moving off to the northeast at 35 miles per hour, and it is heading close to the Middlesboro area just to the north of Harrogate, and that could potentially include, again, some schools that are continuing to move into that area as well. Ward Chapel School. Good news. These schools did leave out. They let out at 12:30, which is great news. So hopefully, if you do have your children at home and you're watching right now, if you are at home and you're watching, hopefully you have this either on your devices, on your phone, or if you are watching on TV. This would be a great time, folks, again, to take your safe place in your house, away from windows, all exterior doors, and just kind of take shelter until this storm passes. Cassie?
And this is also why we recommend downloading the 10 News app, because you can watch this exact coverage as you go down to your safe place. You can take your phone with you, open up the app, and you can watch our coverage live on the app, so that you can take, again, this with you down to your safe place and know when it will be safe for you to move out of your basement or the lowest level of your home or the interior room or bathroom. Again, this is a tornado warned storm moving through the northern parts of Claiborne County, just to the west of the Harrogate and Middlesboro area. This is going to be moving, and Cumberland Gap, this is going to be moving toward the Middlesboro area, I should say, to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. The tightness of this couplet, it appears to be weakening a little bit. So that is good news, but again, these warnings in effect until 1:30 here, so another 15 minutes for Claiborne County, and again, another about half an hour for Bell County. That's where we have that warning in effect until 1:45. Again, if you are in Premier, Middlesboro, Cumberland Gap, Meldrum, Colmar, or Ponza, you need to be moving to your safe place immediately. Lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. If you're in Calvin, Varilla, Miracle, or TJ, heads up, it's going to possibly be heading in your direction. We'll be keeping our eyes on that. As Becca mentioned, schools, we do have some schools that are in the path of that, but we also have some school closures or early dismissals for the day today. That information on WBR.com/closings. Claiborne County actually is one of those schools that let out at 12:30, so this is the reason why
Great news.
They made that decision for the day today. Hawkins County closed at 1 p.m. Rogersville City Schools closed at 1 p.m. as well. Greenville closed at noon. Jefferson County closed at 12:45. And I believe Hamblen County also let out early for the day today. And again, this is the reason why, because we had the potential for those storms.
And sorry, Cassie, to interrupt you, but it's likely that this is going to be moving into parts of Bell County here very quickly. And so we will see whether or not they maintain that warning that we have in place right now for the northern half of Campbell County. If you are right now in the Powell Valley area, this is to the north of you, so you are in the clear right now. If you are, again, just kind of living in some locations near Speedwell, Clarefield, again, this is to the northeast of you. But Middlesboro, now is the time to take your safe place. Again, you should already be in your safe place, hopefully watching this on your devices. If you do have the app, it does look like the rotation from this storm is continuing to broaden out just a little bit, but it is continuing to now cross over into the Kentucky border and getting into the Middlesboro area. So this will likely be issued for again, parts of Bell County. It is issued for Claiborne County until 1:30 this afternoon, so that's going to be for another 13 minutes. but the rotation again is going to continue to move up into parts of Kentucky, especially heading near Knowtown, the Middlesboro area, and again, it's continuing to move off at around 35 miles per hour. With this, there is a potential, again, folks, even if we do not have the rotation in place, we're still looking at some very gusty winds within this storm, and so there is the opportunity that we could have downed trees, power outages, blowing debris from this storm, and so this is one where even if we do not have a confirmed tornado, there is still the potential of seeing some damage from this storm, and so that's why we are encouraging you to take shelter until this storm passes. Again, this is a tornado warning that is in effect. We still have it in effect until 1:30 for Claiborne County, but it does look like the main part of the rotation is continuing to move into Kentucky, heading towards the Middlesboro area. And this was a storm in particular, Cassie, that you were watching for roughly about 30 minutes. We were about to post something on this with the rotation, and then that was just when the warning was issued.
It was just one of those storms where you could see the rotation kind of, we call these storms when they get frisky. You can start to see them get a little more excited, and that's when we ended up having that warning issued. And again, the National Weather Service issuing this as a radar indicated possibility of having a storm that could produce a tornado. We also have very heavy rain, strong gusty winds, maybe some small hail, and a lot of lightning about to come into the downtown Knoxville area right now with the cell that's again moving to the northeast, everything at about 35 miles per hour today. So again, very strong gusty winds. We can hear the thunder starting to rumble at our studios here in North Knoxville. These storms do not have any warnings on them. Also looks like we could be seeing some small hail down near the Greenback and Von Orr areas with that little cell that's moving off to the northeast. So heads up in Friendsville and in Maryville, Alcoa. You could have, in Benfield, you could have a pretty decent little storm heading in your direction as well. Again, overall, big picture, the Storm Prediction Center will likely be issuing a watch for our area within the next hour or so as we continue to see this activity blossoming up over the next couple of hours. This was the potential that we were expecting today. We've had some sunshine breaking between the clouds. The upper level energy that's going to really add that extra lift to the atmosphere will be coming through over the next couple of hours. So from now until about 6 p.m. tonight, you need to be paying attention to the radar, paying attention to WBIR, our social media pages, the app, because we're going to be monitoring these storms, which will likely become more widespread and stronger as we go throughout the next couple of hours. And again, like I said, there probably is going to be a watch issued as well. Maybe a severe thunderstorm watch, possibly a tornado watch. We'll have to kind of see which one they end up choosing. This is a look at your futurecast for how things could go up until 5 p.m. We could still have these cells moving through there 6, maybe even as late as 7 p.m. After sunset tonight, that's when we will see the threat begin to decrease across the area, and we'll have lingering showers, a few rumbles of thunder, and then we'll have just cooler weather moving in for our Saturday. It looks like the severe thunderstorm warning has been discontinued for Claiborne County. So Claiborne County, you no longer have a tornado warning, in effect for your area. However, we still do have that tornado warning in effect for Bell County in southeast Kentucky until 1:45 p.m. It does appear that the rotation is weakening, but looks like it is strengthening a little bit more near the Cumberland Gap area. So the thing to remember with this, as Becca was saying, there's a good chance that even if the storm doesn't produce a tornado, that it produces damaging winds. Whether the wind is rotating or whether it comes straight at you, damaging winds are damaging winds. So that's why we're giving you this big heads up on the storm. Again, moving off to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. It's going to skim right along that Kentucky-Virginia line as it moves toward the northeast. So heads up in some of those areas to the northeast of Middlesboro, where you might have the storm coming, where you need to get, if you are in that red polygon, you need to move to your safe place. Clear Fork Church, if you're near any of these landmarks, Clear Fork Church, Colmar, Calvin, Varilla, Cubbage School, Miracle, TJ, Callaway, Tuggleville, and Cardinal. This all in Bell County in Kentucky. You need to be moving to the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows, until this storm passes.
Again, Cassie, so again, we're watching this tornado warning that is no longer in effect for counties that we have in Tennessee, but it is in effect until 1:45, and that does include Bell County. You're looking at a list of some areas that may be impacted. Again, and hopefully most of these locations are ones that you're familiar with, or you can see a few on here. If you are, again, as Cassie mentioned, in the red polygon, this means that your county is under the tornado warning. This is the time, folks, for you to take shelter and to get away from exterior windows, exterior doors, to find a place at the most interior part of your house and to take shelter until this storm passes. Even if we do not have a confirmed tornado from this storm, we are still continuing to watch the potential for some very gusty winds, flying debris, down trees, power outages. And so that is why we are also telling folks again, This is not the time, if you are in the red polygon, to get into your car and try and find a safe place. This is the time where if you are in your house, you need to find that safe place, what you have, where you have within your house, to get in the most interior part of it and continue to find your shelter in place. Again, we do have a tornado warning that is issued for Bell County until 1:45 p.m. The rotation from this storm, again, does seem like it's kind of, at times, certainly not as strong as what it was initially when they did indicate the warning, but it still appears that we do have some broad rotation within this storm, and that's happening right around the Middlesboro area. That's also happening as we take a little bit of a closer view. Let's zoom in on some of these locations. So it's happening just right now around the Middlesboro area to the north of Cumberland Gap, near Ward Chapel School. Again, that's where we're seeing some of that broad rotation. Could potentially be heading up around Highway 25E near Page School. Again, hopefully these locations are still there, if you can kind of get an idea of where they are at. But if you live in Bell County, Kentucky, again, you do want to take shelter from this storm as we are continuing to see some of this broad rotation. In addition to that, I mean, we also do have some very heavy rain that's going along with this storm. Heavy rain, frequent lightning, continuing to move along with this tornado warning that is in effect until 1:45. So again, that's moving right around the Middlesboro area. It does appear that this particular system certainly doesn't look quite as strong as what it once did, but we are going to continue to monitor this again. And why we're on TV right now is to give those folks in this area an idea of what is happening. Today was a 10 weather impact day. We are continuing to monitor this situation, but right now it's 1:23 in the afternoon. A lot of parents are likely thinking whether or not they need to take their kids and bring them inside, or if they're driving somewhere, if they're at work, they're worried about their families. Again, we do have a tornado warning that is in effect until 1:45. It does appear that this storm is showing some signs of some weakening, but we still have some broad rotation within this particular system, and that is why we are staying on the air right now with the potential for seeing some gusty winds. If you have someone who also lives in this area, we are posting these warnings on our Facebook page so you can share them with family and friends, letting them know where we do have this tornado warning that is in effect. It does look like most of the rotation is now moving just to the northeast of Middlesboro. So Middlesboro, although you are right now being impacted by some of this broad rotation, some of these gusty winds, it looks like it's going to be starting to exit your area. We have not had any confirmed reports of damage. We have not had any reports, again, potentially of seeing some power outages just yet. We're going to continue to get more information on that. But if you are watching, the initial tornado warning that was issued for Claiborne County
has been canceled
early, which is just showing how quickly these storms are continuing to move into the area. Multiple special weather statements across East Tennessee.
Yep, we have a lot of activity. This is what we expected, folks, from now until this evening. This is going to be our prime time for the development of these storms, and that rotation that we just saw in Claiborne County is a preview. That is the atmosphere waving its hand and saying, "Hey, I can do this today." So we're going to be watching for the potential of these storms to possibly rotate, produce maybe quarter or larger size hail, and damaging winds is actually our main threat across the area today. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour are possible with the stronger storms that we end up seeing developing, maybe even higher gusts possible. And because of our trees being so big and bushy this time of year, power outages and downed trees will be a concern through the rest of the afternoon. I think some of our strongest storms, we have that one tornado warning in Bell County until 1:45. We're still watching that cell, but our strongest storms actually right now are about to move into the downtown Knoxville area.
And you look at this when you start to see that lightning develop.
Yep.
When you get lightning developing within the storms, that's when you know that you're starting to see some of these stronger storms really start to take shape. And you notice right now, moving into downtown Knox County, we're starting to see that lightning really start to fire up. And so that really kind of gives us more of an indication that some gusty winds, heavy rain, the potential for some pea-sized hail maybe with some of these storms.
Yep, so big heads up. We could see the small hail, again, if you're going to send us, especially down near the Von Orr and Greenback area right now. That's the little cell that has been quite colorful on our maps recently. So near Benfield, you could be having some pea, maybe nickel-size hail coming into your area very shortly. That will be getting into Maryville and Alcoa in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So heads up in those areas. If you can safely take a photo or a video of what is going on in your area, please pass them along to us. We appreciate the reports. It helps us to verify that what we're seeing on the radar is actually happening down at the ground as well. So again, watching that storm that's moving into the Benfield area could be producing some hail. Also could see some tiny hail moving into the Knoxville area or just north of that near Powell and up kind of along Clinton Highway and I-75 through Knox County as well. Also very heavy rain be prepared to slow down and use that extra caution on the roads. And then that storm that's moving through Bell County is weakening, but we still have that tornado warning in effect for that area because we're continuing to watch for the potential of some of that rotation. Honestly, the way that this storm is presenting itself now looks less like the potential of a tornado and more like the potential for damaging winds.
That's exactly what it's looking like, yes.
Yep, so that's now the concern. I think we still have that tornado warning in effect for Bell County until 1:45, but that storm again, it appears that the rotation is weakening, but it's still presenting the possibility of being impactful. We actually have a new severe thunderstorm warning for that cell that I was just talking about down near Benfield. Oh my gosh.
Let's get right to it,
Let's go straight to that one. All right, so we have that severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued for Blount, Knox, and Sevier County until 2:15 for the potential of hail up to 1 inch in diameter, that's the size of a quarter, and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That storm is moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour, so some of the areas that we're going to be talking about, Becca's going to have a look at some of the areas. Again, I was mentioning Maryville and Alcoa. Take shelter now. That storm is heading in your direction very quickly.
And if you can, don't forget, again, we said this safely, but try to send us your photos after this storm moves through the area. If you do have any of that potential hail that's going to be moving into your area, we're going to be posting the severe thunderstorm warning over onto our Facebook page and on Twitter, which, by the way, is a great place to receive some information for some of these storms that are continuing to fire up. But we do have this severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect until 2:15. So that's going to be for another 45 minutes. And this is that particular system that we were watching that has the potential of producing up to quarter-size hail. This storm is continuing to move off to the northeast at 40 miles per hour, and it is going to be a severe thunderstorm warning that includes Knox County, Blount County, and Sevier County. Again, it's going to be issued until 2:15, looking at the potential of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. We've been watching this storm again for a while. This is a loop over the last hour, and you can really see just how quickly it continued to strengthen. What they likely issued this warning for was for that large hail that will be possible. And this is continuing to move into the Maryville area. Let's give you an idea, if you are in the path of this storm, where we are continuing to see the potential for the impacts, again, of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, as well as the opportunity of 2-quarter-size hail. This is going to include Clover Hill, the Alnwick area, Smoky View Estates, Maryville, roughly around 10 minutes away from your location. Similar story in Alcoa, Eagleton Village, Rockford, Wildwood, Colonial Village, Shook. So if I'm saying your location, or if I am staying somewhere close to your location, this is also a time, folks, where you do want to take shelter from this storm. Treat it very similarly as you would with that tornado warning that we have in parts of Bell County. Get inside, get away from all windows, and make sure you are, again, continuing to take shelter as this storm continues to pass. It is moving off to the northeast at around 40 miles per hour, and it is bringing in the potential for up to quarter-size hail, as well as wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. And again, we just posted this over on our Facebook page, so you can also share this with your family and friends. This is a great place to get some of that information for the severe thunderstorm warning that will be in effect until 2:15. So for roughly another, let's say, 45 minutes.
So the concern with this storm, of course, is the potential for that large hail. Again, it's moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. So kind of following right along, let's see here.
Moving up to Highway 321.
Yeah, moving
right
up along
near the
321.
Benfield area, continuing to move just to the
411.
northeast. There you go, 411, moving just to the northeast of Greenback. Maryville heads up. This is going to be heading into your direction as well. I'm sure if there's any flights that are supposed to be taking off right now, I'm sure that those flights might actually be delayed due to some of this severe weather that's continuing to move in. Alcoa, Rockford, just to the south of the Louisville area. Wildwood, again, this is going to be tracking into your direction. It's moving off to the northeast. We still have the potential of seeing wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. But what I would say would be a bigger concern from this would be the potential for seeing some of that large hail.
And the other thing about storms like this, yeah, it's actually growing, first of all, in the last little bit of a loop that we have of that storm. Notice how the colors are getting brighter and that pink area is getting larger. So this storm is actually growing and strengthening as it's moving off to the northeast. Again, if you are in Maryville and Alcoa, you need to be getting into the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. The other thing that happens with storms like this is they grow and they have strong updrafts, and that's how they're able to take those hailstones and keep them lifted until they get large enough to be the size of a quarter before they collapse. So again, big heads up, Maryville and Alcoa, you've got probably at least quarter-size hail heading in your direction less than 10 minutes, so you got to take shelter now. Also with these storms, when they get big and tall like that, eventually they collapse. And when all of that hail comes crashing down to the ground, it also pushes the air out away from the ground and creates damaging winds. Again, back to the reason why we're on air right now, the tornado warning that we still have in effect for Bell County, Kentucky, still showing signs of rotation with that storm. This warning in effect until 1:45 p.m. That rotation now starting to move into the Cubbage School area, just to the east of Ward Chapel School, 25E. And that's going to be approaching maybe the Harlan County line very shortly here. So if you are in Harlan County, you need to be watching this cell very quickly. As of right now, you don't have a warning in effect. But again, the storm could possibly produce damaging winds as it moves into your area. I think the National Weather Service up there in Jackson is probably trying to determine whether they want to continue that warning or not into Harlan County. If you're in Oaks, Cubbage, Balkan, Tuggleville, and Cardinal or Alva, you need to be going to the lowest level of your home away from doors and windows now, as that storm is still moving off to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. So again, we have that tornado warning in effect in Bell County in Kentucky until 1:45 p.m., so just a little over 10 more minutes. And then we have that new severe thunderstorm warning. That was a big wind gust that we just got here at our station. Our new severe thunderstorm warning for parts of northern Blount, south or eastern Knox County, and northern Sevier County for that cell that is now to the northeast of Benfield, moving kind of right along 411, 129, just to the south of Maryville. It's going to come into the downtown Maryville area very soon. So if you are in Maryville, you need to be getting into your safe place. Call your friends and family and tell them to do the same. Alcoa, it's going to be getting into your area right near Louisville Road, near Eagleton Village, and in Rockford and Wildwood. The southern tip of Pellissippi Parkway down there, Topside Road. Louisville, I think it's going to pass just to your south, but nonetheless, those are the areas that we are watching currently for the potential of that at least quarter-size hail, and the potential of damaging winds going to be moving into those very populated areas. Yes. And moving right over our airport airport very shortly as well.
And we did hear that there actually are multiple flights that are delayed right now out at McGee Tyson Airport. So if you do have friends or family that are traveling again, those flights are delayed due to some of the severe weather that we have in place. So as Cassie mentioned, we are tracking a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect. We're also continuing to track the potential for looking at that tornado warning that is in effect for Bell County in Kentucky, which we're continuing to monitor. Again, that's going to be in effect here for another 10 minutes. Again, that is the reason why initially we were on air, continuing to see if we are going to be updating that warning, if they're going to continue to have that warning in place. We're still seeing some rotation within this storm. It is some broad rotation, but this has just been carrying on now for the last hour. At times, it's been pulsating, so showing some signs of rotation. The tightest rotation that we did have was in parts of Claiborne County. But right now, as it is continuing to move into Bell County, the rotation does look like it's continuing to broaden, but we are still looking at some very strong wind gusts. As we kind of loop this over, we are starting to see a little bit of that strengthening once again as it's continuing to move off to the northeast. So this storm is moving off to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. We're going to continue to see if maybe they do extend this warning into Harlan, but we are going to continue to watch that. So right there where Cassie has highlighted this is where we do have that tornado warning with some rotation. This is all radar indicated. Again, this has not been confirmed that it has hit the surface, but this is something that we are continuing to watch, where we have the inflow, we have the outflow from this storm, and even if we do not get a confirmed tornado from this storm, we're still looking at very strong winds. This is a situation where you want to get into your safe place. You want to make sure that you're at the most interior part of your house, and this is the middle of the day, Cassie. So this is something too where a lot of people, thankfully, are not sleeping. They are awake. They are continuing to pay attention to this storm, and that's something that we are very thankful for. Let's highlight again that severe thunderstorm warning that we do have to our south. Since we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that is now moving just into the Maryville area. Yep. And again, this is primarily due to the potential of seeing up to quarter-size hail.
Yep, that's the one we're watching, coming right into the downtown Maryville area right now. Could possibly producing up to quarter-size hail, and usually along with that you end up with damaging winds. In fact, Chief Meteorologist Todd Howell just arrived as well. It's a team effort here, and we have a picture of hail. Can't quite tell what size it is, but I mean, it looks at least nickel, if not quarter-size hail in the Maryville area. So it looks like we've had a confirmation that the storm is actually producing the hail. Nickel, he says nickel-size hail. So again, if you're in Maryville and Alcoa, Rockford, and near Wildwood, you need to go ahead and move to your safe place, lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. This is why the severe thunderstorm was issued. When these storms that produce hail like that collapse, they produce damaging winds. And with our big bushy trees, that could produce power outages and, of course, down trees being dangerous as well.
And this storm is moving off to the northeast around 40 miles per hour. Let's highlight really quickly, if you are in the path of this storm, maybe you're someone who does not have a garage and you want to park your vehicle in a safe place. If you have the time, now is the time to do it. Try and find a place to put it, because we do have, again, confirmation that this storm is producing up to nickel-size hail. We are going to continue to see if we have anything bigger than that. Don't forget to safely share your photos with us. But if you are in the Benfield area, again, we are going to continue to see that storm move out of your area. So Benfield, you are in the clear right now for the primary threat of hail, but Maryville, Alcoa, Eagleton Village, Rockford, Wildwood, Stock Creek, High Bluff, Woodfield Park, Seymour, and Oak City, you do have some rather large hail as well as some gusty winds that are going to continue to move into your area. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that will be in effect until 2:15 this afternoon. This is on top of what we've had already in parts of Bell County. So we do have two warnings that are in effect. A severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect right now for, again, multiple parts of East Tennessee. But we're also looking at the potential for seeing that tornado warning, which I do want to get back to again. That's why we initially cut in. And it does look like the rotation with this storm, although it is rather broad, does look like we are continuing to see it kind of fire up once again, where we do have that tornado warning. And that has been in effect again for Bell County. And we'll see what happens with this tornado warning. It's still in effect for another roughly 8 minutes. And so you notice, Cassie, with this, we're still continuing to see some broad rotation.
Yep, we are.
And it's continuing to move off to the northeast.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go ahead and issue a warning for Harlan County in Kentucky as well, based on that radar that looks like it is tightening up once again. So if you're in Alva, South Wallens, Harlan, or Kaywood, you need to be going ahead and taking shelter ahead of the storm, even though there's no warning technically in effect for your area. This is a dangerous storm that's moving in your direction and could produce damaging winds as it does so. Also, just a heads up, the Storm Prediction Center has said that it is likely that they will be issuing a tornado watch for parts of our viewing area in the very near future. So we will bring that information to you as well. Remember that a watch means that conditions are favorable for the development of whatever that watch is for. In this case, we've already seen evidence of it. The atmosphere can produce rotation with these storms today. So that is why the Storm Prediction Center will likely be issuing a tornado watch for a good portion of our viewing area in just a little bit. And again, with the severe thunderstorms, again, damaging winds and hail will be the possibility for those as well. So that's what we're continuing to watch this afternoon. Again, that tornado warning for Bell County and Kentucky still in effect until 1:45 p.m. That cell showing it tightening up of rotation right near Cubbage School right now, moving to the northeast, so near Tuggleville. You need to go ahead and take shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and window, even though there's no tornado warning yet issued for Harlan County. I really would be surprised if they didn't extend at least some type of a warning or an advisory into your county. So again, right near Cubbage School, to the south of TJ, moving toward Alva. That is where we have in southeast Kentucky the possibility of a severe thunderstorm producing not only the possibility of a tornado, but possibly damaging winds as well.
That's exactly right, Leslie, or not Leslie, sorry, Cassie, let's go right into this. Again, it's just to the south of the TJ area, and it is going to continue to move off to the northeast around 35 miles per hour. So again, if you are in the Alva area, if you're at the South Wallens warning, there you go. So they just now extended that tornado warning as we continue to see, again, this rotation that is still on the tightening side. So now we do have a new tornado warning that has been issued for Bell County. That is going to be extended until 2:15, and it does also include Harlan County as we continue to see this rotation starting to tighten just a little bit. If we loop this over the last 45 minutes, this storm has kind of held on to its strength, and it really has brought in, again, at times, some tightening of rotation. At one point, it looked very, very tight throughout parts of the northern half of Claiborne County. It's kind of broadened out just a little bit, weakened, and now we are continuing to see signs that it is continuing to tighten and show a little bit more of a sign of some rotation from this. Again, this is all radar indicated. This is not a confirmation that we do have a tornado in place, but we are staying on air right now because we want these folks to know in this area that we are continuing to monitor this storm. But we also want people to know that this is the time, if you are at work, if you have students that are at school, that they need to now take shelter at their safe place. Again, if you can get away from all windows, bathrooms are a great place. You can get into your bathtub. You can cover yourself up with blankets, with cushions, if that provides more comfort for yourself. Just anything that kind of block the potential for blowing debris that could be coming through your area. Now, even if we do not get a confirmed tornado from this particular storm, the concern for seeing gusty winds is still going to be in place. So we are going to continue to watch that as we go throughout the next really 45 minutes here, or 30 minutes, as we have that tornado warning that has been extended for Bell and Harlan counties, and that is going to be going until 2:15 as we continue to see this rotation that is in place.
And something else, the Storm Prediction Center will have the map for you in just a minute. It takes a little bit of time for these maps to process. The Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma has issued a tornado watch until 8 p.m. tonight for a large portion of our viewing area. We'll have that map for you coming up in just a minute, but the reason that we wanted to tell you that is because this may not be the only cell that we see rotating as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon and through the evening as well. And the fact that they issued it until 8 p.m. gives you an idea of how long we expect that threat to be around. The storms this morning were not as strong as we expected them to be. It looks like these afternoon storms, the timeline of these storms is actually going to be a little bit later than we were originally anticipating. So this is going to be a long duration event, folks. You've got to stay alert and vigilant through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening as well, especially through our evening commute. And for the kids that are not already out of school, as you go to the schools to pick up your kids, you need to be checking that radar and staying alert, paying attention to the changing weather conditions as we go throughout the afternoon and into the evening as well. It's a data set.
We will get it.
So again, we're going to continue to monitor this as we go throughout the afternoon. Again, the reason we're on air right now is the potential for a thunderstorm to be producing a tornado in northeastern Bell County in Kentucky, moving into Harlan County. That storm is moving to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. And folks up there need to take shelter until the storm passes if you are up in that polygon. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Blount, Sevier, and Knox County, and there is your tornado watch. It is going to be in effect until 8 p.m. this evening.
We're kind of doing this on the fly, folks. So you're getting a chance to see what we kind of do as we put these graphics together. But again, we do have that tornado watch that almost includes all of East Tennessee until 8 p.m. tonight.
It is. It's for all of East Tennessee tonight. All of the areas that we cover. It is, as of this moment, not in effect for our southeastern Kentucky counties, but I wouldn't be surprised if they end up including them after this cell that just moved through the area. But again, that's brand new breaking news. We are now under a tornado watch until 8 p.m. for our entire East Tennessee viewing area.
And it does look like we are still seeing some of that broad rotation with this storm. As you can see here, where we have those brighter reds and those brighter greens, that is where we're looking at some of that rotation within this storm. And so that's certainly something that we're going to continue to watch with this tornado warning that will be in effect here until 2:15. They have extended it, folks. If you are just joining us, that does now include Harlan County. It's moving off to the northeast, roughly around 35 to 40 miles per hour. They again have taken out the western half of Bell County. It still does include the northeastern corner of Bell County, and they have included parts of Harlan County as well. This storm does have a history of producing some rotation within it. Again, we do not have a confirmed tornado from this storm, but this storm does have the potential of producing some very gusty winds, and it does have the potential of producing, again, the opportunity for some very strong storms. We actually do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been in effect. And we also have the opportunity of seeing some localized flooding.
So let's go ahead and tilt that up and zoom on in on this. So we have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings now in effect for parts of our East Tennessee viewing area. We have the original warning that is in effect for Blount, Sevier, and Blount, Knox, and northern Sevier County. That one's still in effect until 2:15. That was for the one that produced at least nickel-sized hail near the Maryville area, now moving into Rockford. And that's going to continue to the northeast toward Seymour. So big heads up on that one. And then we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for Grainger, Hamblen, Jefferson, Knox, and Union County until 2:30 this afternoon. That one also could produce hail up to the size of quarters and damaging winds as it moves to the northeast. We have a report of pea-sized hail at Blount Memorial Hospital, and we also have flooding being reported where it typically floods at Cedar Bluff and Executive Park Boulevard near Park West Hospital. They are reporting 4 inches of water on the roads from that very heavy rain that's been going on out in that area.
And it still looks like we are still seeing the opportunity of up to quarter-size hail right around the Wildwood area. So it has now pushed its way through Maryville. So Maryville, you are out of seeing some of this large hail, but if you are in the Wildwood area, heading towards Highway 411, just to the east of Highway 129, this is going to continue to move into your area. It is traveling off to the northeast around 40 miles per hour, and this storm does have the potential of bringing in up to quarter-size hail, as well as 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Let's kind of track one more time where we do have the potential of seeing this storm move into your area. So if your city or location is in this blue square, now is the time again to take shelter inside of your home until this storm passes, as it does have the potential of bringing in very heavy rain, the potential for seeing up to quarter-size hail, as well as the opportunity for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We're looking at Prospect Elementary School, Shooks Gap, Seymour Heights, Seymour High School, Oak City, Boyd's Creek, Payne School, Smith School, Kodak, and Hickory. And again, this is going to be moving into your location within at least the next 30 minutes. And this storm has maintained its strength. It is still on the strong side. It still has the potential of bringing in, again, up to quarter-size hail. We've already had reports of seeing up to nickel-size hail. The second storm that does have a warning on it, that is just to our north, also has the history of bringing in up to quarter-size hail. It doesn't look like the potential here is quite as high as that specific cell that we have to our south, but some very strong wind gusts just to the southwest of Corryton going to be possible. Let's talk a little bit more about some of these wind gusts that we could potentially be seeing. So wind gusts close to 60 miles per hour, or sustained winds, I should say, up to around 60 miles per hour, now heading towards the Corryton area. This could lead to downed trees, power outages. It is the middle part of the day. We reminded folks this morning to have your devices charged. That's a great way to receive weather information. But this specific system does look like it has a little bit more of a capability of bringing in some strong winds, and it is heading off into the Corryton area. It's going to be heading towards the Luttrell area, Blaine. So we are looking at some very gusty winds, along with this specific watch that is in effect until 2:30 this afternoon for Grainger, Hamblen, Knox, and Union counties. And that's going to be moving off to the northeast, roughly around 40 miles per hour, with most of these storms that are continuing to move off rather quickly. So we do have two severe thunderstorm warnings that we are continuing to watch, moving their way through parts of the Central Valley. These storms do have a history of producing hail. They also have the history, again, of producing up to, again, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Not out of the question, but that's kind of a look as to what we're seeing here in Tennessee. Let's focus back on what we're looking at right now with some of that rotation and that tornado.
It's weakening again.
Yes, it looks like it's weakening again.
And that's what these storms do. They pulse. They kind of breathe. They take a breath and they get stronger,
yes,
and they grow, and the rotation tightens up, and then they start to collapse. They breathe out. They produce damaging winds or possibly a tornado, and then they kind of regroup themselves. So that's what this storm has done since it was just to the north of Speedwell in Claiborne County, and now it's making its way out of Bell County into Harlan County in southeast Kentucky. So again, heads up near Alva. You need to be moving into the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows as the storm continues to move to the northeast. And up in Harlan, you need to be taking shelter as well, because even if the storm doesn't actually end up producing a tornado, there's a good chance that it could be producing damaging winds
and
as
these
well.
are rough estimations, folks, as to how fast this storm could be moving. So when you see the time frame on here, this is not an exact time frame, but this is more so giving you an estimation of what we are expecting with some of these storms. So if you live in the Twyla area, South Wallens, Stanfield, Mary Alice, Rio Vista, Harlan, Rex, Brookside, Ray, as well as Everett, you do want to make sure that now is the time that you are taking shelter, as Cassie mentioned, in the most inner part of your home. And this is something that we're going to be watching throughout the rest of the evening, as we do now have a tornado watch that is in effect for all of East Tennessee until 8 p.m. tonight. It is almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're looking at the potential for almost 6 more hours of watching the opportunity of these storms to be on the stronger side and continue to bring in, again, the opportunity for some of these stronger storms. We're actually going to send things over to meteorologist Todd Howell, who is over at the wall. Todd has a little bit more on some of these storms. Todd, where do you want to start off at?
Yeah, absolutely. Great job, Rebecca and Cassie, keeping everyone updated. Of course, the tornado warning up into Kentucky still has some rotation with it, as Cassie and Rebecca were talking about. This storm kind of cycling up and down, very typical. Did have a report from Harrogate from one of our viewers that thought they spotted a funnel cloud associated with this system as it was leaving Claiborne County and near Harrogate LMU campus, Cumberland Gap area, as it moved into Bell County, Kentucky. So this same cell has been doing exactly exactly that, kind of pulsing up and down, cycling up and down, still has some broad rotation. Again, what Doppler radar indicates is wind directions, winds coming in different directions, and a couplet. And when you have some wind shear and a couplet, winds going inbound in one direction, outbound in another, a tight couplet, that can indicate possibility of rotation and possibility of a funnel cloud and or a tornado. Can't confirm whether it's on the ground or not. We have to have ground truth reports to verify that, and depending on the strength that we're seeing on radar. But so we can't say if it's necessarily on the ground, but there is a possible tornado that's making its way through Harlan County, Kentucky, and again coming out of Bell County. That tornado warning for just under another 25 minutes until 2:15 Eastern Daylight Time. Yeah, a lot of different things going on in the atmosphere this Friday. The atmosphere is full of moisture, so any storms that develop will produce heavy torrential rainfall. We have a lot of wind shear, rotating storms. That's why we could see potential for some damaging winds. Here's a look at some of the communities in place right now over the next 4 to 10 minutes. Yeah, we're looking at Stanfield, Yancey, Harlan in just under 15 minutes from now, and continuing toward Everts and Shorttown just under 30 minutes. So if you live in and close to some of these communities in Harlan County, Kentucky, you need to go to your safe place, which is an interior small room in the center part of your house, away from outer walls and windows, on the lowest floor of your home or business, apartment building, etc. Again, basically in the middle part of a sturdy shelter, and then wait for these storms to pass. Elsewhere, thank you, Becca. Here's what we're looking at. Again, everything streaming from southwest to northeast. Tornado warning in Kentucky that will expire in about another 20 minutes now. Severe thunderstorm warning, parts of Grainger County coming out of Knox and portions of Union, and also severe thunderstorm warning that continues for parts of Blount County, Sevier into East Knox County. For colors, when you see yellow, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. If you see red, that's a tornado warning. Both can produce significant damage, and you need to take both seriously. Again, some of the information we're getting. The other thing I want to point out is good time in here. Hail has been associated with many of these storms, and this is a solid hail core. We got confirmations. I've shared this on our Facebook page, and let me see if I can get the latest. Go ahead and show that picture. We have some hail that reported in Maryville, up to quarter-size hail. Yeah, take that photo, Andy. We'll take a look at that as that storm, as we see right now, north of Wildwood and west of Seymour. We'll get that for you in a moment. But there it is. Yeah, that's just shared that about 2 minutes ago. Quarter-size hail reported in Maryville. That was early this afternoon. And a couple of points. Thank you so much for putting a coin right there for reference, and either on a table, flat surface like that, or the palm of your hand. That helps us to see exactly, and everybody else to see exactly what size that hail is. So in relation to a coin, if you can safely get that hailstone, put a coin in the palm of your hand on a flat surface, just like that, whether it be penny, dime, nickel, quarter, etc. And so that's what we're looking at. We did have quarter-size hail reported in Maryville, anywhere from pea to quarter size, actually. Thank you, folks, for the reports that you are submitting and sending in on Facebook, on Twitter. That helps us to pass that information along to you and all of us as we go through this afternoon. So here's the track of this storm. Prospect Elementary, basically this hail core that could produce some damage to some windows and some rooftops. Again, once you get quarter size or larger, that's 1 inch in diameter or larger, the photo we just saw, that's what can produce damage. And so that's why a severe storm is labeled as such whenever you get 1 inch or quarter size diameter hail or larger, and winds 60 miles per hour or greater. Those are the two things that make a thunderstorm severe. Of course, if you have a tornado, it's severe as well. But those are the two factors within a severe thunderstorm. Other communities, again, Seymour Heights, 5 minutes, Oak City, 10 minutes, and Boyd's Creek, less than 15, Kodak, 20 minutes or less, Alder Branch, 22 minutes, and Willardtown in about 26 minutes. So, yeah, Becca Sweet in the Weather Center, Cassinal as well, tracking that storm. Again, what we're looking at is vertical liquid. We're looking at potential for hail in some of these storms. Not quite the impressive hail core around Luttrell and Corrington. Earlier, I think it was a little bit more impressive. These storms continuing to track off fairly quickly now to the northeast. So there's a potential with these severe storms for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Some hail still possible. Corrington, Luttrell, and down to Skagston. Wind velocity showing up right now between 45 and 50 miles per hour. Maybe slightly sub-severe, but these storms, as Cassie pointed out a moment ago, and Becca, talking about the storms pulsing up and pulsing down, breathing in and breathing out. And I think we just have a brand new I think that was just issued, right? Brand new severe thunderstorm warning for new storms coming into Lenoir City. Philadelphia, Loudoun, Lenoir City, coming out of Monroe County. Brand new severe thunderstorm warning until 2:45. That does include Blount, Knox, Loudoun, and Monroe counties. Once again, this storm will be capable of producing damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour and large hail up to quarter size. So again, there's the communities. We just reeled them off. Lenoir City, Loudoun, Philadelphia, down to Sweetwater. It's time to get into your safe place. Again, that's a small interior room away from windows, outer walls, in the interior center part of your sturdy home or building. If you're in a mobile home, we recommend seeking more sturdy shelter and nearby a safe home or building, and always recommend that, particularly whenever we have potentially severe winds coming into our region. Okay, some good news, the tornado warning, and Becca and Cass, feel free to chime in. Looks like that has been canceled early, as I don't see it popping up here. It may have expired, allowed to expire early. It wasn't in effect until 2:15, so perhaps that is a little bit of good news. And a lot of times, whenever storms get in mountainous regions, the winds start to be more disrupted. A lot of times, tornadic storms like to form where it's flat, etc. So we are looking at ongoing severe thunderstorm warnings, and yes, we'll do a recap here and kind of a summary of these severe storms. We're going to continue, by the way, folks, to track these throughout the afternoon and evening, obviously, as long as there's any threat for severe weather. Again, we'll be keeping you updated on air, online, Facebook, Twitter, all our social media platforms, etc. So certainly stay weather alert throughout the rest of the day. We'll continue to track these. Severe thunderstorm warning, Blount, Knox, Loudoun, and Monroe, again, until 2:45. And a separate severe thunderstorm warning for Blount, Knox, and Sevier until 2:15. And then there's the storm for Corrington from Knox, part of Union, into Grainger County. So right now, right around Plainview, Blaine. Need to be taking cover in Blaine, and also up toward Thornhill, also around Washburn, and continuing to make its way through portions of Grainger County. It's going to work its way up Clinch Mountain and north of Cherokee Lake, and continue to track from Grainger County up toward Hancock and Hawkins counties along Veterans Parkway eventually, and also again Clinch Mountain. Elsewhere and otherwise, we do have more scattered storms that will be redeveloping. And Becker, Cass, if we could show that tornado watch as kind of a summary, ongoing severe thunderstorms that we will continue to be tracking now. Here's the tornado watch that has been issued until 8 p.m. Now, we're probably going to see most of the strong to severe storm potential before this time frame. Nonetheless, throughout the rest of the afternoon, pretty much most of the rest of the afternoon and possibly into early this evening, we do have the threat for severe weather. That's what a watch means. It means be on the lookout. Be looking out. The possibility is there for some strong to severe storms. A warning, as you probably already know, means take action. Take cover, because that means one is imminent or is occurring, and you need to get to your safe place right now. So warning, take action, watch, be prepared, stay alert for the possibility of warnings that could be issued. So that's always the difference between a watch and a warning. All right, so we're going to keep you updated. Again, we're going to reset, take a little bit of a break. We are tracking those storms. Again, we'll take a brief break. We'll be back on as severe weather warrants and any more warnings issued that need your special attention. But keep it right here for the latest. We'll continue to scroll the warning information on the bottom of your screen. Again, you can go online, WBR.com, our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, etc., and we'll keep you updated, and certainly throughout the afternoon and evening. Thank you for joining us. Have a good, safe Friday. And again, we'll keep you updated throughout the rest of the day.